Let me record. Yeah. Let me record this session. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. So Andrew asked me to talk about the trust system. Hello?
Who's there? Okay, go ahead.
All right. So let's talk briefly about the trust system, and we're gonna go from there. Right? All right. So let's see. Let's get started. Everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Good. Yeah. All right.
And if you don't understand something, you can welcome to just jump in, right? And Klemens, so
Yes.
that nothing.
Yeah. Just stop
Yeah.
me at any
Jump in,
time.
like, I
Ask
don't-
any question at any time. Don't wait until the end. Right?
Mhm.
Yeah,
No
yeah.
problem.
Okay.
Hỏi tiếng Anh, tiếng Việt gì cũng được hết, không sao hết.
Yeah.
Whatever you feel comfortable. Yeah. Okay. All right, let's get started here. So this is disclaimer. This presentation is for educational information purpose only. Right? It should not be construed as a legal advice or tax advice. Right? Obviously, I'm not providing legal or accounting or financial advice here. Right? But one thing for sure that you're not going to save thousands in tax by just watching this presentation alone. So just to learn it, to get more familiar with it. So first of all, the first question, what is the single biggest expenses? Anyone want to tell me? Anyone try to say?
Single biggest expense.
Buying a
this
house.
is the single biggest expense you will incur over the course of your career. The expense that, Andrew said buy a house.
Business expense.
Business expense, yeah. Well, it is taxes. The reason we set up because 30 to 40% of every dollar we earned are taxed, right? So that's a lot. That's a single biggest expense. And we do investment. We try to get return of investment 10%, 12%, 20%. It's still lower than 30 to 40% of the tax every single dollar. So if we can save this 30 to 40%, that's a huge return of money, right? So that's the biggest single, the single biggest expense we're going to incur. Yeah. So let's go to that. Let me just show you exactly how the benefit work. Show this. All right. So this is a tax return 1041. So most of you are familiar with it. You file tax and enroll agent or tax repair, right? But you may just probably do as a estate tax return, not a complex trust. But this is the complex trust. You check this box, right? So this is an example of one the client. He has a dental office. He sold his dental office for capital gain of $817,750. And you can see here it's in the Schedule D. He sold for $865. His cost basic $47,000. So his net were $817,000, and that's the capital gain. Normally, he would have paid tax on the capital gain if it's sold personal name or business, right? So here we reported $817,750 as a capital gain as an income. So total income $817, but we deduct entire $817,750 for the deductions. Therefore, total tax is $0. So able to defer tax entire capital gain. And how does that work on the other deductions? We can go see other deductions here. There's a little bit of credit card charge fee, and the rest we allocated to the corpus using a special formula, a special rule and regulation, treasury regulation. We're able to deduct entire A17 as other deductions, and therefore the tax is $0. So this is for selling an office, a dental office, right? And here, another client also have a spendthrift trust, and he has the couple have two houses. One house they bought it for $850 and they sold it $1.3 million. It's a short-term holding, so there's about $459,000 capital gain on one house. And the second house they bought it for $550, they sold it for 1.2. The capital gain of $699. So these two capital gain together, again, is a $1.149 million the capital gain for selling the two rental house, right? Normally, the only way to defer tax is do a 1031 exchange or do a delay sale tax or different strategy, but majority of people are familiar with 1031 exchange to move on to, otherwise they have to pay tax on this capital gain. Again, they sold these two houses, capital gained, and they deduct entire thing of $1.145 million capital gain. So total tax is $0 again. And the total, they defer, again, the same thing, we allocate that to the corpus of the trust using a special way to do it and able to deduct entire thing. So that's kind of benefit of deferred tax on capital gain of selling a business, selling an office, and the capital gain of selling houses, right? Or rental houses. And how will we be able to do that? Because we use the trust system, right? If it's on a personal name, we won't be able to do that. So what is a trust? Right? A trust is a contractual agreement between at least two parties. The grantor is the first person who created the trust, and the second person is a trustee who hold the legal title of the property, or think of it as a manager of the trust, and the trust property for the benefit of the beneficiary. So that's what the trust is, a contractual agreement. Okay. The trust,
Bữa sao không nghe giọng của anh nữa? Hello?
Yeah, and Klemens, couldn't hear you. Yeah, let me check. Can you hear me? Anh còn nghe Andrew không?
Em có nghe anh Andrew nhưng mà không có nghe anh Klemens.
Okay, để text anh.
sorry, I'm back. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
All right, I'm back. Sorry. So, and also the trust is not considered a person or corporation, but it's going to recognize as a legal entity to hold the legal title of the properties. Mm-hmm. So again, the three parties of the trust: grantor, trustee, and beneficiary. The grantor is the one who creates the trust for the benefit of the beneficiary. A trustee is a person's or financial institution to manage the trust, to host the legal title in the trust or for the trust estate, right? And the beneficiary, obviously, the people who benefits from the trust assets. So those are three parties of a trust. So think of this here, this is a trust. We have a grantor, I set a contract agreement with the trustee to hold the trust property for the benefit of the beneficiaries. And so if we have 3 parties in this contract or agreement, and we put a trust property inside the trust is set up or existent. So this is a legal entity here. If we have all these components. So that's what the trust is. Now we talk about the complex private trust is a special type of trust, right? Again, we have a grantor. In this case, it's a grantor is another person. A trustee is you. Let's say if I'm going to set up the trust for Mary, right, I'm going to be the grantor. I'm going to name Mary as a trustee, and we're going to have Mary's and your children is a beneficiary of the trust. So there are 3 different parties in here. This is totally different from a family living trust or family revocable living trust that a lot of people are familiar with it. But this is different because it's called a non-grantor and irrevocable. And then we put the trust property into the trust. I put the trust property like $10 or something like that inside the trust. The trust is set up, right? Again, this is on an irrevocable non-grantor trust by definition of the IAS, because the grantor is a different person. That's why non-grantor. Because the non-grantor, it is allowed to file a tax return 1041, like you saw earlier, right? A typical family living trust is the grantor trust, so it cannot file its own tax return. The grantor trustee file is regular tax return 1040, a personal tax return. But because this is non-grantor, it's allowed to file 1041. So what are the benefits of this complex private trust? First of all, it defers tax in all 6 different types of passive income: rent, royalties, interest, dividends, K1 passive income, and capital gains, as long as possible. You saw the example of the capital gains. Tax will defer from selling the office, and capital gain tax defer from selling the real estate, the rental houses. So this complex private trust would able to defer tax on those things. It's also a bulletproof asset protections. It means it can protect all the assets inside the trust. It avoids the probate court. So it takes the place of family living trust. So when the trustee you die, the asset will remain inside the trust and pass on to your children who become the successor trustee to become the trustee. So it bypasses the probate court completely. It also avoids the estate tax because it's outside your estate. So we don't have to worry about the estate tax exemption. Right now it's large and $23 million for couples, but it will reset to about $5 million in 2025, and who knows in the future what the value is. But with this trust, we don't have to worry about that because it's outside the estate of a person, of the trustee when we die. And it's also a generational wealth. This is how we can pass on our wealth to our next generation, to the next generation, as long as possible. We like to do that. This is how the wealthy, well-known family been doing it for hundreds of years. They pass their wealth from one generation to the next generation. So this complex private trust can do all of that. Right. The reason it can do all that because it has all these provisions: non-grantor, irrevocable, complex, discretionary, spendthrift, dynasty, not self-settled, private. These are all provisions included inside the trust document, give us trust powers for asset protection or deferring tax. We don't have to go to explain detail what these mean, but that's what granted its power, its benefits. However,
anh cho em hỏi đi.
cái
Đoạn mà anh viết á là avoid estate tax. Nhưng mà mình dạ đó khi á, mà mình phân cái tiền của mình vào cái irrevocable trust á, thì cái đoạn đó đó mỗi năm mình được cái annual exclusion có 16 17 ngàn thôi, còn số còn lại nó vẫn đi vào gift tax đúng không anh?
Dạ không. Tại vì cái đó là that's how mình nghĩ giống như mình fund, mình convey like normal type of trust. With this trust mình không có làm như vậy. This trust mình bán vào cái trust, we sell our access, we sell access to the trust, chứ không phải là mình convey nữa, mình không phải give nó, thành thì nó không có ảnh hưởng gì giống như là gift tax exemption hoặc exclusion nữa hết đó.
Nếu như á, mà mình bỏ vào trust bằng cách là mình bán, tức là cái entity này nó mua lại các cái tài sản của mình.
Đúng.
Như vậy thì tại cái thời điểm mình bán đó, em giả sử như cái căn nhà đi, đúng không? Thì bị capital gain ở cái individual rồi.
Yes.
Thì bây giờ mình muốn avoid nhưng mà mình lại nhanh chóng là đóng thuế trước á, ý anh vậy á.
No, bây giờ như em có một cái căn nhà đang own personal name đúng không?
Ví dụ vậy đi anh.
Ok, bây giờ em bán căn nhà cho một người thứ hai, đúng không?
Không,
Thì
em
sao?
bỏ private trust mà.
No,
Thì nếu như
anh hỏi nếu ví dụ em bán cho một người khác thì sao? What happened to cái căn nhà đó?
thì mình bán thì mình cũng phải đóng capital gain. Nếu mà
Correct. Nếu mình có capital gain thì giờ mình bán cho cái trust the same thing. Mình bán cho cái trust thì nó đâu còn là của mình nữa đúng không? Bây giờ em bán cho một cái người khác thì cái nhà đâu phải còn của em nữa đúng không? Đâu phải còn estate của em nữa đúng không? Em đâu dính dáng gì cái gift tax hay gì đâu đúng không? Thì giờ em bán cho cái trust the same thing. Em bán cho cái trust thì đâu phải là nhà đó của em nữa đâu. Cái trust nó own that. Đâu
thì
có dính dáng gì cái gift tax đâu.
thì nếu như vậy thì bình thường á người ta chỉ muốn đưa vào cái trust để người ta tránh probate thôi, chứ còn nếu như mà mình ví dụ như cái nhà nó đang gain 500.000, thay vì họ để lại 10 năm sau để bố mẹ họ mất đi á, họ được cái save up basic mà bây giờ mình bỏ vô phải recognize 500.000 tax ngay tại thời điểm hiện tại mất rồi anh.
Không, tại vì khi mình bán á, tại vì nếu mà em nghĩ như bình thường á là khi mình bán, bây giờ có cái capital gain 500.000 là mình bán cho một người khác thì mình bán cái giá với cái capital gain là 500.000, đúng không? Thì mình sẽ phải đóng thuế trên cái capital gain 500.000, đúng không? Còn hoặc là người bỏ vô cái trust như em nói là cái trust, cái living trust, mình bỏ vô để cho probate thôi, avoid probate thôi, không dính dáng gì về capital gain, không dính dáng gì estate tax ấy, tại vì cái đó vẫn nằm trong là cái dưới tên tài sản của mình. Bây giờ mình bán cho cái complex private trust này, thứ nhất là mình bán đi thì cái tài sản nó không còn của mình nữa, đúng không?
Đúng, đồng ý.
Đúng, thì nó không ảnh hưởng gì về estate tax nữa, đúng không? Tại nó không có phải là tài sản của mình. Thứ hai, khi mình bán, mình không phải bán với cái giá mà có capital gain, mình sẽ bán với cái cost basics. Ví dụ như mình mua cái nhà đó là 500.000, bây giờ cái giá trị đó là 1,5 triệu, 1.5 million dollar. Khi mình bán cho cái trust, mình không bán at 1.5 million dollar, mình không bán 1,5 triệu. Tại nếu mình bán 1,5 triệu giống như bán cho người khác thì có 1 triệu đồng là capital gain phải đóng thuế. Bây giờ mình bán cho cái trust này, mình sẽ bán at cost basic, mình bán sẽ at 500,000. So as a person, mình không có cái capital gain gì hết. We sell at the cost basic.
Anh như vậy
as a person không có đóng thuế.
Vậy thì thường ai sẽ là trustee ở trong cái trust?
Trustee là em.
Mình.
Yeah.
Mình đang owe cái tài sản đó.
Yes.
Mình complex private trust rồi mình bán một cho cái trust đó mà mình lại là trustee của cái trust đó luôn.
Đúng, không sao hết. Tại cái beneficiary là con em chứ không phải là em.
Còn nếu mà như vậy thì anh không nghĩ là em tư cách cá nhân với lại cái irrevocable trust đó là tụi em có related party với nhau à?
No, nó không phải related party because cái trust này set up không phải do em set up mà là anh set up. Anh là grantor, anh set up cái trust như em. And anyone can sell their property to the trust. Em là trustee, is a manager of the trust. Chứ không phải em là trustee là owner của cái property. Cái trust là owner của property. Em happen to be the trustee, the manager. So any person can sell property access to the trust, including you, including em.
Ok,
Mà
vậy nghĩa
cái trustee này em không phải là grantor. It's a non-grantor. That's why nó không phải related. It's
Okay.
different. It's a different non. Cái của em nghĩ là cái là grantor trust. Khi nó sell vậy thì the same person. Còn cái này em chỉ là happen to be the trustee. Em không phải là owner.
Yeah.
Của cái property. Cái trust là owner. Em chỉ happen to be the trustee, like a person, a manager, a person who run the trust, like, on behalf of the beneficiary.
Okay anh.
Yeah. Thành thử nó không bị ảnh hưởng cái related party transaction. And that's why it's outside estate tax, and there's no capital gain on a person because we sell it as a cost basics. Đúng không? Hiểu không?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, the term irrevocable, nhiều người ta nghĩ nghe cái chữ irrevocable người ta sợ. Ta nghĩ là irrevocable mình bỏ gì trong đó là mình không còn control được nữa. Irrevocable không nữa. Nhưng mà irrevocable đây có nghĩa là refer to the grantor. That's why cái miễn là grantor không có thể revert cái trust này, không thể amend, không thể revoke, không phải làm cái gì cái trust này được hết. Right. But chứ không phải là irrevocable là trustee. Ai bán vô đó thì that's a transaction is a buy and sell. We sell the bill of sale thì nó bán thôi. Bây giờ muốn lấy lại thì lấy cái trust bán lại cho mình thôi. Giống như một người này người sell, người buy là thôi chứ không có gì hết. That irrevocable. I mean the grantor has no control, which is good. Nhưng nếu mà anh set cái trust cho em không muốn anh control nữa, right? So that's what irrevocable here means. Irrevocable, chứ đừng có sợ là irrevocable những như người ta nghĩ là irrevocable là bỏ vô mất đi. The reason because cái trustee vẫn have complete control. A trustee, you can make the investment hoặc là management decision for the trust, right? And there's a trust protector that can add or remove the trustee and beneficiary at any time. So both the role like you like trustee and trust protector, then you have control over this trust completely. You can do whatever you want for that because of this provision in the trust, special trust. Now it's a bulletproof asset protection. Again, in the U.S. court, any lawsuit can only file against a person or the equivalent to a person, which is like the legislative entity like LLC, S corporation, or C corporation, right? So either a person or equivalent to a person, right? That's a lawsuit. But the trust is not considered a person or a corporation, but it's considered a legal entity that can hold legal title, property, right? And this complex private trust is based on contract law. It's not under jurisdiction of legislative government, so it's not belong to the state anything. So it's not like LLC, S corp, or C corp, right? Therefore, this complex private trust cannot be sued. That's what the blip group trust. It's text from the hospital. Okay. Again, so that's why the complex budget cannot be sued, right? And a tax mitigation. We talk about this. All assets and properties are sold to the complex private trust. And we talk about that. So once the assets are owned by the trust, they are not reported on the trustee personal tax return anymore because this is the non-grantor trust, right? But it is reported on the trust tax form 1041. And by using a variety of trust laws, trust codes, and IRC code, the treasury regulations, we're able to defer tax, as shown you earlier on. Now, complex private trust can pay for almost everything. All expenses related to all assets inside the property are paid by the complex private trust using the trust fund. So essentially, pre-tax money can be used to deduct and pay for all of this. Right? All expenses relate to the beneficiary. Okay, so let me see. Okay. All expenses to the for the benefits of the benefits also paid by the complex private trust, like, including the educational costs, like for your children to go to a private school, you tutoring, or even go to college, tuition are paid all by the complex private trust. All these expenses are deductible by the complex private trust from all the passive income that received by the trust. I will show you later. Right? This complex private trust is copyrighted to me because I put together the trust. I got the copyright from this. Here the a quick table to compare the complex private trust versus a living trust, a family living trust versus land trust or the LLC and S corporation. Right? It has all these benefits we mentioned earlier already. Compared it. Now, the complex private trust only is helpful for passive income and capital gain to defer tax on passive income and capital gain only, right? But for people who have a business active business income like a 1099 and S corporation or partnerships, right? Then we're gonna have a second type of trust called business private trust to work together with the complex private trust so that we can help defer tax on the active business component as well. So this is how the business private trust works, and I'll show you the example. Again, it's a trust, so we still have three components: the grantor, the trustee, but in this case, the beneficiary is the complex private trust, and not a, so we can relate between the business private trust with the complex private trust, having the complex private trust as a beneficiary of this business private trust. That's how we set up that. Right? And this is the one example. Let's say we have an S corporation doing business currently, right? We set up business private trust and we set a complex private trust, and we set the relationship between these, and this is how it goes. This is how the flow of money works. Example. The S corporation can pay up to 90% of income to business private trust. So the other 10% left, we have to pay out 5% or 50% as W-2 income to the shareholder, and the other 5% as income to K1, 50%, right? So as a person, as a shareholder, this S corporation, you have less taxable income on the 1040, because 90% of the income gets shifted to the business private trust. Right? From here, business private trust, we're gonna pay 70% to the complex private trust, and that becomes the passive income. Now, complex private trust receive this 70% a passive income, it will do tax defer all of that, like we saw earlier. I'll show you example. The other 30% left of the 90%, this business private trust will distribute it out to its beneficiary with a complex private trust. So it send a K1 distribution to the business private trust. So this complex private trust now receive this 30% as an active income distribution from the business private trust. It will adjust it for the expenses related to all the things that complex private trust does, so that it can defer approximately another 5% more of that. The other 25%, they're gonna pay out to the trustee to pay tax and via 1099. So the trustee essentially will pay still much tax compared to without this system. We have to pay the whole 100% tax, either from W-2 or K1. With this way, we have to pay less tax. We're able to save a lot of tax from the S corporation. So this is one component or one way if it's an S corporation is running the business. And that's it still maintain the S corporate status.
Anh cho em hỏi á, cái S corp á, họ pay 90% of income to cái business private trust á, là dưới cái dạng gì?
Professional management service.
Tức là cái business private trust đó bây giờ nó sẽ làm giống như là cái management service để mình phải trả cái phí đó cho cái business trust đó. Rồi từ cái business private trust á, nó có cái income thì nó mới đưa nó trả cho hai bên, một bên cũng là complex trust mà mình đều cũng là trust nhưng mà cái tên của cái trust nó khác hay là nó cùng một cái trust?
No, the same trust, but hai
nhưng
two
mà
different functions.
Một
This
dạng
one right here, the same trust, the same complex private trust. Oh, okay, complex private trust is different from business private trust, but this trust and this is the same trust, one trust, but at two different functions, two different roles. Cái role đầu tiên này á là nó receive 70%. Cái business private trust pay 70% via 1099 to complex private trust. Thì nó trả 70% này, khi mà complex private trust receive 70% này, nó trở thành là passive income. It use a lease property of for the business. So the business private trust pay the lease back payment to the complex private trust at 70%. And it's a lease payments, therefore complex private trust receive as a passive income. Right? That's the first role. The second role, the same complex private trust, it happens to be the beneficiary của cái business private trust. Therefore, business private trust có thể distribute out to beneficiary của nó, tức là complex private trust, the rest, the 30%. In K1, 1041, K1 is a distribution for beneficiary. Thì cái complex private trust này receive cái đó là active income because of distribution. And từ cái này nó mới adjust for the expenses, about 5% more can be for the left 25% can pay to the trustee to pay tax, right? Now, there is another trust called Family Private Foundation Trust, a charitable trust, a 501c3 trust that I also set it up to. Let's say you have that family private foundation trust set up right here. This piece of trust, nó có 30% left, right? Instead of distribute out to the complex private trust, it can donate all 30% to this private foundations, and then it can deduct tax completely that 30%, so bypass this step. So if you want to set up an additional private foundation trust, you can receive the other 30% into here and defer tax and 100% tax without. Or this private foundation can receive donation from W2 income of a person, directly donate up to 30% of AGI to the foundation to reduce the taxable income on the person 1040. But that's additional trust. But that's how we can set it up. If we want to defer this 30%, we can set up another foundation here to receive that 30%.
Nếu vậy là cái người bây giờ cái người mà anh đang để mà 1040 đó họ là trustee của cái complex private trust mà họ là trustee của cái business private trust.
Yes.
Shareholder.
It's always on a shareholder của S corporation. Yes.
Tổng là income người đó nhận sẽ là 5% W2, 5% K1. Sau đó
Correct.
là 2% 1099 từ cái complex private trust đưa qua nữa.
Yes.
Rồi á
25% của 90%.
Dạ. Rồi cái người rồi á một cái business private trust phải đi khai một cái 1040 một lần rồi. Rồi cái
1041 here and 1041 here. Yes.
Tổng cộng lại là người này khai tổng cộng là 4 cái hồ sơ là 1040 của cá nhân, một cái S corp 1120, một cái 1041 của business private trust và một của complex private trust. Thì đối với
có two more trust and two more tax return. Yes.
Ok. Anh như vậy á, thường á cái private trust mà anh set up như vậy nè, thì á đối với cái S corp có bao nhiêu income trở lên thì mới nên làm.
Any amount. Whatever muốn xếp tax, think about whatever the income bao nhiêu tiền mình xếp. Tại mình set up, we only have to pay the client have to pay only one time. right?
Mm.
But this gonna save every single year from now on for the business. Think about that.
Okay.
They're able to save how many percent throughout for the rest of their life, or the rest of their business, right?
Mm.
So imagine how much tax they have to pay from the S corporation every year. Let's see how much tax they're gonna be able to save. But this is just one way. Let me show you another way, or a few more way here. This is only nếu mà người ta vẫn phải maintain cái S corporation để run cái business. For instance, a medical doctor or dentist, they need to have an S corporation to run it, right? Some people like restaurant or nail salon, they don't need an S corporation. They can dissolve it completely. So what they do, they dissolve it completely. So now the business just run that business, run that nail salon, runs that restaurant, and the business private just receive 100% of the income directly to here. Dissolve the S corporation or LLC, right? So from here, again, 70% go to complex private trust, deferred tax, 30% go down, distributed to complex private trust, just 5%, and just pay out 25. There's no more S corporation coming down. So all the 5 tax, so no more S corp tax return, no more 1120S, only 1041, 1041, and 1040. That's another way to do it. If able to dissolve the S corp and have the business private trust runs the business directly. Okay, that's the second way to do it. Depends on the business setup. Another way to do it, if they happen, instead of S corporation, they have an LLC partnership 1065, right? Then the business trust.
Anh trở lại
Okay.
giùm em.
Okay.
Anh trở đó trả lời lại cái này. Tức là trong trường hợp này mình muốn reserve cái S corp với lại LLC, phải không anh? Để mình được lợi về thuế.
Dạ, mình không cần phải maintain cái S corp nữa.
Business and private trust ấy, là nó protect from liability và lawsuit luôn phải không?
Correct. Remember, it's a bulletproof asset protection. Yeah.
Vậy có nghĩa là mình khi mà mình bị người ta sue á, người ta không có được sue cái business private trust của mình à?
No, người ta chỉ sue cái trustee thôi.
Vậy là mấy cái LLC với lại franchise tax là vậy là mình không cần. Nhưng
Không
mà
cần.
mình là nếu như mà cái state law nó require cái business đó cần phải có license thì
Correct.
nhiều khi nó không có đạt yêu cầu thôi đúng không?
Yeah, then we have to go back to this way. We have to keep this. Bởi vì anh nói nếu mà giống như tùy cái state law, giống như tùy cái state law require cái business phải conduct in the S corporation, then we keep this way. Có những cái state law hoặc những cái business không nhất thiết require S corporation, then we go straight to this way.
Yeah.
Thì mình có lấy giống California, then we avoid the franchise tax $800 a year. Right, we resolve that. And then if we have a partnership.
And Klemens, real quick
Yes.
question. So basically in California, because I'm in California, so we don't have to set up an LLC. We go straight this way.
Correct. A broker, a broker firm, a real estate, a consultant, none of them require an S corporation to run the business. Only professional license in California, professional license like lawyer, dentist, doctor are required to have an S corporation. They call a PC, professional corporation, which is similar to S corporation, right? But other business, they do not require to have an S corporation nor an LLC. So you can dissolve that completely and have the business private trust runs the business directly. Why not?
Yeah, because because we have a group of investor, real estate investor. So they open an LLC, you know, okay, let's say 5 people, I'll put in 100 grand, all 5 in an LLC. We buy the property, all that stuff. So in California, so we just set up the business private trust altogether and we do it that way. Skip the LLC, right?
If that, yeah, if it's just for the investor, yeah, that's one way to do it. Or you can do this. You can keep the LLC partnership.
Okay. Like
That's another way.
get what percent and all that stuff in that LLC.
Yeah, there are different ways. Depends on the other partner. How do they agree with the setup, right?
Okay.
Because for instance, for this, if the couple like husband and wife have a partnership as in the LLC, a lot of them set up that way too. Husband and wife set up a partnership in LLC, run the restaurant or run a some sort of business, right? So we can have an LLC, or in for instance, well, let's go this and now I'll get back to cái question mà anh Chu nói về cái LLC mấy người đó. Okay. So let's say if there's an LLC partnership here, we're just talking about this without the outside person, okay, with all within the same family here. So this partnership will set up the two partners, right? The business private trust going to be a limited partner, so it will receive a K1 is a 95% ownership of the limited partner K1 from the partnership, right? The other 5% is general partner to the person, to the trustee or the person. So this partnership, the two partner, the person and the business private trust. The person is a general partner, active income K1 5%. Business private trust as a limited partner, passive income K1 of this 1065 partnership. And from here, 95%, because essentially it can do the 70% to complex private trust that we talked about earlier and defer 70%. Now, remember this 95% all passive income, so I can distribute 30% is passive income to complex private trust. Therefore, complex private trust can defer this 30% as well. So essentially with this setup, entire 90% get deferred completely. There's no more active income between the business trust and complex private trust, right? So there's no payment from here to here at all. Essentially, the person only pay 5% income tax on the active income. So the partnership is the best way to save tax because 95% that can be deferred, right? So get back to the question Andrew was asking. Let's say a group of 5 investors set up an LLC and buy a property or multiple property for the future investment. Now, let's say Andrew is one of the 5, right? Andrew set this system. So how would Andrew gonna do it? What Andrew gonna do, instead of having his name Andrew as a 20% ownership of that 5 partnership in that LLC, Andrew gonna set his own LLC. Let's say Andrew on LLC, right? And replace the Andrew on person. So that this LLC right here, this is an Andrew LLC, own 20% of the 5 people partnership, right? So in reference to the other 4 people, 4 người kia doesn't make any difference, right? Either hoặc là Andrew hoặc là LLC của Andrew vẫn own 20%, the same thing. Andrew hoặc LLC của Andrew vẫn receive the 20% profit, whatever to that, right? But now it's an LLC của Andrew, no longer Andrew. And that LLC của Andrew sẽ có business trust của Andrew là partners, limited partner, and Andrew là 5%. You see that? So whatever profit mà mình nhận được từ the group of investor right there, 95% are going to flow down to the business private trust. Does that make sense? So đối với 4 người kia, there's nothing. Đối với 4 người kia, they don't see any trust at all. They don't see an LLC của Andrew thôi, instead of Andrew name, right? But before Andrew name, you got the whatever 20% profit, you pay tax on that as a person. Bây giờ cái LLC của Andrew receive 20%, 95% of that go to business trust, only 5% of that 20% pay tax on that.
Right.
That's how you would set up if that's the case, if there's 5 different people involved in a deal, something like that. Cái này là nói chung là the way to do it if this LLC running the current business right now. Right? So let me show you this. All right. So this is a business trust, right? This business trust, I'll show you, has the Schedule C medical doctor who received multiple Form 1099, and total income coming in 544,000, right? And it paid the lease back payment to the, so this is business trust right here. It's gonna pay 70% to the complex private trust right here. So deduct on the Schedule C 433,000, right? So it has left over 110,000, right? So go back to the trust. So now the business income only 110,000 left because it's 70. We see 30% right here. The other 30%, the other 70% paid to the complex private trust already. Now with this, it donate 75% to the private family foundation like I was talking earlier, right? So only about 35%, I'm sorry, 35,885 left is distributed out to its beneficiary, which also complex private trust. So the business trust at the end pays zero tax return right here, right? So this is how a tax return 1041 of that complex private of the business private trust. Again.
Anh cho em hỏi đi. Cái other business property, cái đó anh bỏ vào mục rent and lease, phải không? Cái dịch vụ gì từ cái business private trust á, nó provide cho cái người này mà anh
all equipment property and intellectual property. Tại vì once we set the business private trust up, right, in order for it to run a business, it has to have property, right? But when it first set up, it has no property whatsoever. It's just an entity, nothing, doesn't have anything, right? So in order for a business private trust to run it, it has to have the properties. It has to have both equipment property and intellectual properties to run the business, right?
Yeah.
So complex private trust, when we set up complex private trust, we sold all, as a person, we sold all the property to it. We also sold all our intellectual property to the trust, right? So now complex private trust has all the equipment property and all intellectual property. So the complex private trust gonna lease these two type property to the business private trust for the business private to run the business or to run the management service for the S corp. Therefore, the business trust gonna pay that lease or the property payment 70% back to the complex private trust right here. That's the lease back payment.
Thì em đang giả sử như mà cũng có một cái bệnh viện khác. Em đang ví dụ một cái bệnh viện khác có thể cho mình lease thấp hơn như vậy, ví dụ 100.000 thôi. Thì sao mà mình justify được là cái lease của mình nó, ví dụ như mình làm cái lease đó đi mà có một người khác nào đó họ cũng đồng ý họ thuê với giá đó thì không sao, chứ còn tự mình định giá tự mình trừ luôn thì sao mình không có trừ.
Yeah. Okay, let me use example. Let's say I'm a surgeon, đúng không? Klemens là bác sĩ mổ. Okay. Mình mổ một cái case cho xin lỗi ai hỏi về Celia hả?
Dạ.
Yeah. Mổ một cho Celia đúng không? Xong Klemens sẽ bill Celia là 30.000 đồng tiền phí tổng cộng. Okay. Cái đó cái total bill là 30.000. Okay. Trong đó cái Celia nói sao mắc vậy anh? Sao mắc vậy? Ok. Mổ đâu có nhiêu đâu. Yeah. Mổ á chỉ có tốn 200 đồng tiền mổ thôi. Cái cách làm 200 đồng tiền mổ equipment làm mổ thôi. Đấy. Còn 29.800 đồng á là cái tiền phí để làm sao mà Klemens biết cách mổ. So who gonna say cái value của Klemens biết cách mổ là 1.000, 2.000, 3.000, 100.000? Who can determine that?
Thì
they're gonna say the equipment, equipment có 200, that's fine, that's fixed. But the knowledge, the intellectual property is invaluable. There's no there's no way to put the value to it. Depends on how we put the value to it. Em ví dụ một cái bệnh viện khác, because they rent that the equipment. Equipment thì nó có concrete value. Còn intellectual properties, there's no concrete value.
Vậy em hỏi nha, nếu như mà cái intellectual property là cái trình độ của anh, đúng không? Mà cái trình độ, nếu anh đi làm thuê cho người ta anh được 200.000, mà bây giờ anh phải làm để trả cái business property trong cái Schedule C là cuối cùng anh về có 35.000, thì tại sao mình không đi làm thuê cho người ta để có 300.000? Thứ nhất, cái thứ hai á là khi mà cái Schedule C này nè, mà nó dùng ví dụ nó compare với những cái người mà cùng nghề nghiệp bằng cấp trình độ, thì họ sẽ là mình có income rất là thấp so với một cái người mà có cùng trình độ bằng cấp đại học. Tại vì giả sử như cái anh bác sĩ, cái anh physician này nè, anh không làm nữa thì cái business này có generate cái income đó hay không?
No, cái này, cái Schedule C này là của cái business trust chứ không phải của person. Schedule C này is not for a person. Schedule C này belong to 1041. This Schedule C của cái business trust.
Thì tại vì em chỉ muốn biết là tại sao mà cái giá mà mình định 433 đó được xem là make sense. Tại vì nếu như mà make sense so với lại các ngành công nghiệp chung, cái ngành industry đó đó, để mà mình định ra là 400 hay là 200 hay là 300.000 đó.
No, nó make sense là tại vì, okay, thứ nhất là it's about up to 70%, 70% của cái tiền income thôi. Chứ không phải là 433.000. Okay. Mà là 70%, ví dụ cái này có 100.000 thôi thì cái này có lẽ là 70.000 thôi. Tùy theo cái income, cái receivable income của cái business. Thì cái property, intellectual property này, khi mà mình làm cái lease agreement đó, thì mình có quyền nói là cái complex private trust lease equipment property and intellectual property to the business private trust. In return, the business private trust gonna pay 70%, up to 70%.
Okay.
Chứ không phải là 433.000.
Thì đó, ý em nói là bao nhiêu percent đó.
Yeah, thì percent đấy. Thì mình có quyền pay up to 70%, mình có pay less cũng được, đừng có pay more thôi. It doesn't make sense to pay 95% or 99%. The 70% is very reasonable for a lease property, including intellectual properties. Thì thử mình có quyền khai vậy, nó không thể, tại cái này không, it's not a person, it's a business. Chứ không phải là một người đi làm thuê làm cho bệnh viện là bao nhiêu trăm ngàn, bao nhiêu như em nói, không, nó it's different. So so this business, the leftover 1/10, it donates 75% to a private foundation, so it's about 35,000 left, distribute out to the beneficiary. So cái total tax is $0 at the end for 10 for business trust. Right? Now look at this
hiện tại cái mà anh đang làm đó đó thì cái văn phòng bác sĩ, thì cái beneficiary đó là con của ông bác sĩ hả? Là con của ông bác sĩ sẽ phải recognize 35.800 income cho cái...
No. This is the business trust, okay? The benefits,
the beneficiary là
benefit here, go back. Right here. Beneficiary là complex private trust. Chứ không phải là person. Remember we talking about business private trust right here. Right? It received 500 mấy chục ngàn vô. Okay? It paid 400 mấy chục ngàn, 70% to a vendor, which happened to be a complex private trust. Right? It left over 110,000. It donates 75,000 to a private foundation. Left over 35,000. It distribute out to its beneficiary, which is the complex private trust. Chứ không phải, there's no person here. The beneficiary, So this 35,000 here go to its complex private trust, its beneficiary, a complex private trust. Here, let me show you a complex private trust receiving it. All right. So complex private trust, first of all, we received the lease back payment from business trust, 433,000. Remember we saw that, right? 433. $33,000 right here, right? So it received $433,000 from the lead back payment from the business trust, right? Now, then this complex private trust in Schedule E, they have 3 rental houses. They have the income for the rent, mortgage deduction tax, utility, depreciation, and at the end, they have about $12,430 left income from the 3 rental houses that they own. The complex private trust own the rental house, right? So it received $12,000 income from Schedule E, page 1, Schedule E. Page 2 of Schedule E, it listed $35,000 it received from the distribution from the business trust coming out right here. Remember that? 35,000. It's distributed out here to business private trust, to complex private trust, to beneficiary. So it's 5 right here. You received 35,000. So 35,000 plus 12,000, 35 plus 12,000. That total about 48,000 here. That include from the rent and from the distribution group from business trust, right? So these two add up. This is total income for this complex private trust received is 481, and it do all the deduction 481, zero tax. Now let's show you all the deduction. What can it deduct? Here are the deductions, all the related to the expense of the asset, vehicle expenses, insurance the property, life insurance for those who is a life insurance agent. This is I set up the infinite banking concept whole life policies for these people. So they pay the premiums, 215,000, a total of several policy, and able to deduct it, all the premiums as expense because the trust all those policy. And this becomes the cash value that the trust can use access. This is how we store the money in like saving account, but they're able to deduct it in the expense. Now, professional fee, medical, dental, other fee, repair, maintenance of the houses, supply material, office utilities, and training, education, tuition for their children. Whatever left, it will allocate to the corpus and using the special rule and regulation, and able to deduct entire 481,000 of a total income of 481,000 here from both, from the lease back payment from business trust, from the rent and the distribution from the business trust, deduct entire thing, defer tax, zero tax paying. Any question?
Nope.
Em không biết là cái IRC code nào để mà được trừ cái toàn bộ cái defer đó anh. Nếu mà vậy có nghĩa là nó sẽ cất ở đâu đó, nó cất ở trong cái trust, đến một ngày nào đó cũng phải distribute ra thôi đúng không? Hay là sử dụng ra hoặc là spend nó ra thôi. Biết là cái IRC code nào để mà anh trừ cái line cuối cùng 171.000 á. Anh có cái reference về cái đó không?
Yeah, they use a different. They use a in the past. There's a IRC code 643B. Okay, IRC 643B to defer tax on that. But recently, IRS they came out of the release a memorandum in August 9 of 20. Let me see if I can share you that if it's possible. August 9 of this year.
Rồi thêm một cái nữa là anh nói là cái life insurance với lại premium á, mà 200 đó đó trừ trực tiếp luôn thì cái điều kiện á, cái điều kiện để mà được trừ đó đó medical and life á, là cái điều kiện để được trừ đó là cái gì?
Oh, life insurance premium.
Thì có nghĩa là mua cho bất kỳ ai cũng được hay là phải mua cho cái
No,
gì?
belong to, nếu là trust own cái life insurance đó, the owner and beneficiary của cái policy đó thì mới được.
Bây giờ á, là anh nói
Chứ không
là
phải bất cứ người nào khác.
owner có nghĩa là anh nói là grantor á hả?
No, owner, cái trust own the policy. Cái trust, cái complex private trust là owner, là ownership của cái policy, của life insurance policy đó.
Ok.
Và cái complex private trust also the beneficiary của cái life insurance policy đó.
Thì khi á mà life insurance mà gửi cho anh một cái premium á, thì họ không break down là cái nào là cash, cái nào là premium. Họ không có break trong cái invoice là cái nào là.
Yeah, cái invoice, the whole thing is premium. The total is premium when they send you the bill, đúng không?
Không, thì cái đó là em thấy lạ đó, tại vì thông thường đó là người ta phải break down rõ ràng chứ, cái tiền mình cất vô với cái tiền premium là sẽ ấy đi, còn tiền cất vô.
Không phải. Tại vì em chưa hiểu về cái policy, insurance policy. Khi mình set một cái policy, let's say we buy a policy, cái premium là 100.000 một năm. Okay. Thì trong 100.000 một năm đó, depends on what type of policy, the type of policy mình dùng là one of the type, let's say whole life policy, it's set up specifically for high cash value life insurance. So out 100.000 đó thì only about 25, the whole 100.000 đó they'll call a premium, hết the total premium. Okay. Of that, about 25,000 it's called base premium. Okay. The base premium of 25,000 đó mainly by cash, by death benefit. By a small percent of cash value. The other 75,000 mainly to by what we call a pay up addition premium. Right? The other 75% mainly by all cash value. So đối với life insurance, mình pay the whole 100,000 is a premium, but in there, now break down different type of premium, the base premium and PUA premium, right? And that's why it's able to generate about 75 or 78,000 cash value right away to use.
Okay.
But that's a special type of life insurance. They have to be designed in a special way, not the regular way. That's how we're able to use, call a private banking, infinite banking concept. So first year we put 100,000, we build up about 75,000 cash value. Second year we put another 100,000 and build up another 80,000. Like that. Keep doing that. After about 5 years, we put the 500,000. We have cash value almost a little bit more than 5,000. That's how it's almost a break even. Right? Essentially, from there on, it's almost a free insurance, right? Any cash value is the money that we can use or the trust can use.
Ok. Dạ anh cho em cái code của ấy để anh trừ 171.000 đi anh.
Yeah.
Quick question Klemens, là cái life insurance, cái policy này đó là cái owner, là cái thằng trust, right? So
cũng là trust luôn.
This trust can buy like
insured person can be anyone
or anyone.
Insured person can be anyone.
Can be anyone. Your children,
the
your
owner,
friend,
yes, the owner and beneficiary has to be the trust in order for the trust to pay the premium, to deduct the premium.
Right. Okay. So just want to be clear. Make sure that Cecilia understand that this 200,000 you can, the trust can buy to anyone that they choose.
Oh, really? It's not about only benefit the person in trustee or whatever, because they don't have control with your trust. How do you relate to that person to buy their life?
Okay. For life insurance, okay, life insurance, there's 3 components or 3 parties. The owner, the insured persons, where the policy is put on, and the beneficiary. Okay.
Yes.
Typically, all 3 are the same persons. Like if we buy our life insurance, I'm the owner, I'm the insurer, I'm going to be the beneficiary. You see it that way. Sometimes I'm the owner, I'm the insurer, my children can be beneficiary or contingent beneficiary, or my family living trust can be beneficiary, right? So these three can be totally different party completely. It doesn't have to be exactly the same. The main thing is the insured person is the one that would qualify for the policy or not, and has enough interest for amount of death benefit the policy can be bought, right? So now, if the trust is the owner and the trust is the beneficiary, it doesn't matter who the insured person is. The policy still belongs to the trust, because the trust is the owner, the trust is the beneficiary. So the trust can be the payer. The trust can pay the premium for this policy. So this insured person could be the trustee, could be the beneficiary, or could be a parent, brother, sister, or anyone. As long as that person qualify for the insurance policy.
The insurable amount.
Insurable amount, yes.
Yeah, but you said that there is how they interest, right? How the trust have the interest on that life. So now I set up the private trust and I buy Andrew life. How Andrew have the interest in my trust? Why I need to buy his insured life?
Okay. Oh, well, because so the best way, there should be a relationship somehow that person relate to the trust, because the trust own, that's more, it's more in terms of how you satisfy that relationship with the insurance carrier.
Yes.
But from the payment by itself, right? Because the trust own the policy, that's why the trust can pay for it. Because the trust is the beneficiary of the policy, that's why the trust can pay for the premium, right? The relationship, how is it going to qualify that? More of the answer to the carrier. The carrier would allow the trust to pay for insure for Andrew or not. That's a different story. That depends on how to set up the relationship between the two. Yeah. So mainly the happen to be the insured person here happen to be one of the trustee or one of the beneficiary of the trust, to make it easy for the carrier to allow the trust to pay it.
Okay.
Yeah. Not completely a stranger, because a stranger, the carrier probably won't allow you to do that.
Yeah.
And also, Cecilia, one more thing is, this is the only place that's pre-tax money can be able to. This money, usually we buy the life insurance policy is already paid tax, right? That money. But this is where you didn't pay tax yet on this money, but you can go and buy insurance and deduct tax later on. So that's the point.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's say you already have the policy set up, right? You bought it. Now you set the trust. Once the trust set up, you can change the ownership of that policy and change the beneficiary of that policy to the name of the trust. And from there on, the trust will pay for those premiums and deduct it from here.
Yes.
All right. So here's the recent memorandum that released from the Office of Chief Counsel on August 9. Basically, the principle of this kind of trust, or the firm that's selling this trust, is using the 643B code, right? Where 643B said that if you can, well, actually, let me go back here. Make sure. All right. So the two things, 643A, it said the capital gain or loss will be excluded from the income, the distributed income, right? Then 643B, 643A, 4 said that the fiduciary has an absolute authority to designate something extraordinary dividend, right? And designate pay to the corporate of the trust and not subject to distribution, therefore not income to the trust. Okay, that's why I can deduct it. Right. So that's usually the 643 code. But this memorandum came out, said that just stating that by itself is not enough. It's not allowed. In fact, at the end, it said that if you just stay like that, they will be disallowed to claim the deduction. So for those firms or those CPA who've been filing this kind of tax return, if they continue to use the same way, they would not be able to claim this right here. This won't be allowed deduction anymore because of that memorandum. Therefore, we came up with a special way, including the Treasury, including the Uniform Principle of Income Act, able to do that, and without using the 643 code completely from this memorandum. But that's the initial theory, initial IRC code 643 to use it. Now we don't just use the 643B by itself. We use different way. But just show you the example how we're able to deduct that amount.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Any
Right,
other question?
Mary and Kathy, quiet there.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so bây giờ anh Klemens cho Mary hỏi. Bây giờ thí dụ như người ta có cái food truck business đó anh.
Yeah.
Thì người ta có cái S corporation rồi. Xong rồi bây giờ người ta muốn file một cái trust để họ invest into real estate. So what kind of trust you recommend for that business?
Invest in what way?
Real estate. Like giống như người ta có total 3 partner. Cái S corporation cho cái food truck á, là họ chỉ có 2 người thôi. Xong bây giờ họ just file một cái S corporation cho cái real estate, trong đó có 3 người partner. So thì họ muốn set up một cái trust cho cái food truck để họ lấy tiền họ bỏ vô cái real estate để họ invest.
Ok, nếu mà người ta cái S corporation cho cái food truck mà trong đó có 2 different partner, 2 cái shareholder đúng không?
Yes, yeah.
Người đó và một người khác. Outside.
Hai anh em.
Hai anh em, ok. Nếu mà hai anh em là cái S corporation đó, thì it's going to be difficult to one way they can do it cái S corporation nó không cần thiết phải maintain cái S corporation để run cái food truck đúng không?
Thì giống như là Klemens hồi nãy Klemens nói á, thì là không có cần cái S corp đó.
Yes, thì they có thể form completely a new business trust để run cái food court đó. Thì trong cái business trust đó nó sẽ có 2 beneficiary. Một beneficiary là người anh, cái người mà không có muốn làm gì về trust hết. Nhỏ như 2 anh em với người em là người muốn làm trust đúng không? Thì một beneficiary là người anh, còn một cái beneficiary kia là cái complex private trust của người em.
So actually 2 người đều muốn làm luôn á.
Okay, that's even better.
Okay.
2 người muốn làm thì mỗi người đều set up cái complex private trust riêng cho người em, người anh, mỗi người có một cái CPT different đúng không? Rồi từ 2 cái CPT đó, they form một cái business trust để run cái food truck. Okay, thì cái business trust đó sẽ có 2 beneficiary là cái CPT của mỗi người. Vậy thôi, đơn giản thôi. Khi cái income vô thì cái income nó flow down to 2 cái CPT riêng của mỗi người.
Ok, xong rồi thì
Không bỏ cái S corporation của food truck đi.
Ok. Nhưng mà bây giờ làm sao họ lấy tiền ra để họ đầu tư bên cái real estate của cái Ascot?
Ok. Cái real estate khi đầu tư nên đâu cần phải đầu tư cho mấy escort đâu. Lấy từ CPT, they can from CPT, they có thể lấy từ tiền đó ra để invest riêng một mình cũng được, hoặc invest chung với một cái entity nào cũng được hết.
Yeah, thì bây giờ một cái entity về real estate thì họ mới file rồi.
Okay.
So they just filed like 2 months ago. Cái entity đó về cái real estate thì bây giờ trong cái entity đó nó có 3 người, tức là 2 anh em này và thêm một cái người nữa là 3 người trong một cái entity đó.
Cái entity đó là cái gì? Là partnership hay escort?
No, escort.
Escort. Okay.
Yeah. Thì
nếu vậy á thì có thể thay vì 3 người đó là cái member của cái new escort đó nha. Ví dụ cái người thứ ba là không dính dáng, không muốn gì về cái trust hết, đúng không? Ví dụ đi.
So I don't know. Yes, I don't know. I haven't had a chance to talk to that person. Yes.
Okay, if that person wants to do a trust even better, then they just ignore that escort completely. They form a new business trust cho 3 người.
Okay.
And business trust invest money.
Rồi bỏ tiền vô cái đó. Rồi invest.
Thì trong cái business trust đó thì CPT này là CPT của hai anh em là beneficiary của cái business trust đó, và cái người thứ ba cũng có thể là beneficiary của người, hoặc là person cũng được.
Okay.
Actually even better, forget about the S corporation, form another business trust. Trong business trust đó có ba member or 3 beneficiary. 2 benefit đầu tiên là của 2 cái CPT của hai anh em, đúng không? Và cái benefit thứ ba có thể là của người thứ ba, hoặc là người đó muốn làm trust thì có làm cái CPT cho người đó luôn. Thì là 3 cái CPT.
Là mình set up một cái trust cho 3 người.
Yes, một cái business trust cho 3 người, 3 cái CPT đó, mỗi người đều có CPT riêng hết.
Tức là khi mà invest cho đó tiền nó lời bao nhiêu thì nó phân ra 3 cái
nó chia ra 3 cái CPT và 3 CPT deferred tax đó.
Deferred tax hết. Ok. Vậy thì bây giờ cái food truck là mình vẫn phải create cái trust cho họ, hai anh em mỗi
cái
người.
Business trust, hai anh em lúc nào cái basic cũng phải có cái CPT hết, cái compact private trust hết. Chỉ mỗi người có một CPT, rồi replace cái S corp của cái food truck bởi một cái business trust để cho hai cái CPT làm đó.
Để mình save tax luôn.
Còn cái S corp mà người ta mới vừa làm cho cái business for investor có thể replace that with another business trust. Hai cái CPT này là benefit của đó, và cái người thứ ba là benefit của cái business trust đó. Hoặc là if he wants to do CPT even better, then 3 cái CPT luôn.
Ok. Thì nếu bây giờ đó, nếu mà anh set up như vậy đó thì là cái cost của mình làm sao?
Cái tùy thì khi mình sẽ nói chuyện riêng sau đi. Tùy theo trường hợp thì mình sẽ nói chuyện cái cost sao ha. Mình bây giờ mình cái Zoom này mình nói là cái structure, cái flow, cái làm thế nào.
Ok. Thì bây giờ xong cái meeting này anh có thể cho xin cái hồi nãy anh nói á, để cho mình review lại để mình nhớ được không?
Là cái gì?
Cái mình vừa mới talk about đó.
Okay, presentation này hả?
Cái presentation đó.
Andrew, you can share the
Andrew have it recorded, so I will send it to you, the copy.
And ok, anh Klemens, thí dụ bây giờ khách của mình sẽ chắc là bây giờ cái người food truck họ want to set up the trust, thì bây giờ cái knowledge của mình chưa có hiểu rõ thì mình sẽ prefer để anh nói chuyện direct to my customer. And với lại có thể mình sẽ phải nói chuyện với anh trước khi để mình giới thiệu cái người đó.
Đúng rồi.
Thì bây giờ cái information của anh có thể share cho tụi này không?
Cái email của Klemens put in.
Mà anh đang ở tiểu bang nào vậy anh?
Anh ở California.
What city?
Right on Riverside area.
Vậy hả? Okay, not too far from here, so we can meet sometime.
Where are you locating?
California luôn, Garden Row.
Yeah. That's my email.
Okay.
I should say the North Pole.
Ok, thì bây giờ đó là mình sẽ contact anh Klemens anytime tomorrow, tại vì bây giờ client của mình đang có cái demand đó đó.
Yeah.
Thì so we should talk in private, phải không? Hay sao?
Yeah, sure. Andrew.
Yeah, I can give Cecilia and Mary his phone number after this. I'll text you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you Andrew.
Okay.
Yeah, thì mình sẽ send khách qua để anh nói chuyện, để mà tại vì he muốn ready cho cái investment đó, he cần phải set up á.
Yeah.
Yeah. Còn một cách nữa là ví dụ như là bây giờ những cái giống như hồi nãy anh nói, những cái life insurance mà customer họ đã có rồi thì họ có quyền transfer to cái trust, đúng không anh?
Đúng rồi.
Trên cái ownership thôi, đúng không?
Ownership and beneficiary, yes.
Beneficiary, okay, I got it.
Cái đó rất là dễ, mình chỉ fill out cái form như với là cái carrier thôi, insurance carrier, mình đổi ownership thôi.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tại vì mình cũng có một số khách tiệm nail đó, thì mình thấy họ đóng thuế cũng khá nhiều.
Oh yeah.
Thì chắc mình sẽ recommend them to set it up this way. And I have the doctor too. So okay. So okay, I'll contact you on Klemens. Okay.
Yes.
I think we good to go, right?
Okay, good.
Anh cho em hỏi á, có nghĩa anh mà anh set up cái trust á, thì cuối năm anh sẽ khai thuế cho khách anh luôn à?
Đúng rồi, tại vì phải có biết cách khai special way. Yeah. Còn nếu mà Mary hoặc Cecilia muốn khai cho nó, then I can train you.
Yeah, tại vì
do it.
This is our business, anh. Thì we work together.
Yeah. No, I can train you how to do that.
Yeah, okay, appreciate that.
No problem.
Yeah.
Anh văn phòng của anh nó dùng phần mềm thuế là gì ạ?
What's the tax layer?
Okay, mình thì mình dùng cái ProSeries.
ProSeries hả? Yeah.
Yeah.
Em thì dùng CCH.
CCH. Tại thì thường không biết khi nghiên cứu cái ProSeries nó có những cái form mà nó không có everything. Phải add on, phải scan in, add in.
Oh, really?
Trong cái tax layer nó có special form that we need to do a disclosure form.
Okay.
So look for cái form 8275. Okay. 8275. Thôi coi thử có ProSeries nó có không?
8275 hả?
Yeah.
I have to log in, so I.
Yeah, just check that for yourself and see. Okay.
Yeah.
Tại đối cái private trust này là anh phải attach cái form đó vào luôn á, disclosure vào luôn á anh hả?
Correct. Yeah. Để mình thứ nhất để mình avoid cái penalty.
Dạ đúng rồi, mình phải avoid cái penalty.
Tại vì cái form đó nó có nó bị penalty. Yeah. Nếu mà không có đó thì mình file mình làm sai nó bị penalty up to 50% of tax file. Tax preparer.
Em thấy khách cũng nhiều người họ cho tiền lắm, nhưng mà họ làm mấy cái trust nó không có được hay lắm. Với lại có nhiều người họ cứ cho thẳng là cái một năm mà họ rút tiền ra, họ cho hẳn 200-300 ngàn thôi, chứ họ không có làm theo cái kiểu như vậy. Thành ra là
thì cái nếu mình làm không đúng á, here's the tax preparer will be fined either 1,000 or 50% of income.
Yeah.
The penalty.
Yeah. Okay.
So mình phải. Yeah. Okay. I have to go to the hospital now. Sorry.
Okay, thank you
All
for
right.
your time, anh.
Okay,
thank you.
Yeah, and remember you text everybody contacts. So check your and also I used to have C-Tax, so look like I have to go back and get that license.
You should. Okay, so nice to talk to you. So thank you, everybody.
Okay.
Thank you.
See
right.
you on Wednesday morning, 10 o'clock.
Dạ.
All right.
All
All right.
Bye
Bye bye, everyone. Nice
Bye.
talking to everyone. Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, everyone.
Bye
Thank
bye.
you, Klemens.